So I'm just going to run through all of these, finding the mean, finding the median, Q1 and Q3. I think it's helpful if you see them all and how they work together. So the mean, I need to add up all my x's and divide by the number that I have. 15 plus 16 plus 17 plus 19 plus 20 plus 22 plus 23 plus 43. And we are going to divide the total by 8. Now I'm just going to grab my calculator and I'm going to throw that in here. And I get 175. So 175 divided by 8, that's going to equal 21.875. But our directions are to round to 2 decimal places. So we're going to call this 21.88. Now, I think that's probably the easiest one to calculate in terms of, oh, I just add them up and then divide by how many that I have. The median means the value sitting in the middle position. So the values must be ordered low to high, which indeed they are. So good things for they are in ordered position. So I'm going to write down my values. 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 22, 23, and 43. So here's what I want to do. I want to find the position that is in the absolute middle of the list. So if I have position 1, position 2, position 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now there's actually 2 ways of solving this. One, I could solve it visually, and the second way, I can solve it mathematically. For this problem, the list is small enough to do it visually, but first for the median, I'll go ahead and show you visually, and then for Q1, maybe I'll do it mathematically, and then for Q3, I'll roll back to doing visually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight half of the row, or half of my list. And then I'm going to highlight the second half of my list in a different color. So 4 of my values have been highlighted in green. 4 of my values have been highlighted in pink. The problem is right here in the middle, there is no value sitting in the middle of my list. Half of the list is green, half of the list is pink, but there is not a value sitting in the middle of my list all by itself. And because of that, we're going to take the 2 values surrounding the middle and take the average of those 2 values. So we're going to take 19 and 20 and take the average of 19 and 20 to find the median. So 19 plus 20 divided by 2, because there are 2 values there. 39 divided by 2 is 19.5. So our median is 19.5. Now to find Q1, okay, let me just go up a bit. To find Q1, I'm going to do it mathematically this time. For Q1, I've got to find the 25th percentile. So this is also called the 25th percentile. And therefore, I can use my percentile index formula. But keeping in mind, this gives me the index, in other words, the position, not the actual value. So it's going to be P sub K, K divided by 100 times N plus 1, where K is the percentile I'm looking for, N is the number of values we have. Okay, so I know in this case, since I'm looking for the 25th percentile, K is 25, and we have N is the 8 values that we have listed. P of 25 will equal 25 divided by 100 times 8 plus 1. 25 divided by 100 times 9. That's going to be 225 divided by 100. That's 2.25. So I'm looking for position 2.25. Okay. This is the position. Well, the problem is I don't have a 2.25 position, right? That's my value that I'm looking for, is the 2.25 position. And because of that, I'm going to have to take the average of the two positions sitting around it. So I need to figure out the average of 16 and 17. 16 plus 17 is 33 divided by 2, and therefore that's 16.5. So Q1 is 16.5. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you Q3 visually. Okay. So this is going to be solving for Q3. Now I want to rewrite my list. And again, I have to realize what Q3 is. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my colors again. So the second half was in pink, the first half was in green. And Q3 is the median of the second half of the values. Okay, so I have to find the median of the second half of the values. So I no longer care about the first half of the values, I only care about the second half of the values. And I'm looking for the median, the middle number. Well, if I break this list in half, I'm just going to color, let's say, overlap half of it in blue and leave the rest of it in pink. I see that I'm looking for this middle number right there. But there isn't a number sitting there. So again, I'm going to have to take the mean of the values straddling that imaginary number. So I need to take 22 and 23 and find the average. So 22 plus 23 is 45 divided by 2, and 45 divided by 2 is 22.5. Now, the reason why I did some of it visually and some of it mathematically is because this was only a list of 8. I could have done it visually the whole time. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to redo it very quickly, finding the median, Q1 and Q3, all visually. Okay, the median is the middle value. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight half my list in blue, half my list in yellow, and I'm looking for the median, which is sitting right here, which doesn't exist. That means I need to take the two values on each side and take the average. So the median is 19 plus 20 divided by 2. That's 39 divided by 2 is 19.5. Check. Got it. Now, because Q1 is the median of the first half of values, I'm going to take the blue section and I'm going to divide it in half. So I'm just going to overlap it with yellow. So now I've divided my blue list in half. And I'm looking for this number sitting right here. But there is no number sitting on the line. And therefore, I'm going to have to take the 16 and the 17 and find the average of 16 and 17. So Q1 is 16 plus 17, all divided by 2. That's, what is that? 33 divided by 2 is 16.5. Again, exactly what we got mathematically. Now, because Q3 is the median of the second half, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight half of the yellow. Okay, so half of the yellow is highlighted in pink and half of the yellow is highlighted in yellow. And I'm looking for the middle value. But the problem is there's no middle value there. And therefore, I've got to take the average of the two straddling the line. So Q3 is going to be 22 plus 23, all divided by 2. And I get 45 divided by 2 is 22.5. So same thing as we got before. Now you might be wondering, do we always have to take the average of two values? And the answer is no. So I'm going to use that same list. The only thing I did was I cut off that 43. If I am looking for the median, I'm looking for the middle number. So I'm going to highlight half. I'm going to highlight half my values in blue. So I've got half of them in blue, and I've got half of them in green. And in fact, I've got one value that could be both in blue and both in green. And therefore, 19 is my median. It's sitting in the middle of my list. Right? Now remember, Q1 is the middle of the first half. Well, the first half of my numbers are in blue. And I'm looking for the middle number in that list. And therefore, my middle number is 16. And in fact, I can do the same thing with the second half, the green half of my values, and I can highlight the middle number, and therefore Q3 is 22. So because we have 7 values here, it is easier to find the middle values. When we had 8, there wasn't a strict middle value. So I'm hoping this clears it up for you. If it is a short list, I gotta admit, I do it visually. If it's a long list, like 100 values, I would do it mathematically, or I would just throw the whole entire list in my calculator and let my calculator do it. And I do have a video out there to explain how to do that. I think it was part of the lesson as well. So I hope this helped you. If you need more help, let me know.